gap looks a bit bigger on this side though. Well, that's what the putties are for. Hi everyone, it's Rory at Clawden Painting Studio. It's been a wee while since I've talked about some of the commissions that I've been working on. So I thought in this video I'd have a look at a current ongoing commission and some upcoming work that I've got in the pipeline. I've got a large commission which is taking up most of my summer, and it's on some 18mm AB miniatures Prussians. These are from the 1806 campaign. So not as familiar to most people that play Napoleonics as the Prussian army of 1813 onwards. This army was very much of the sort of 7 Years' War style of warfare that Prussia had been very successful in, but lots of new tactical innovations that Napoleon had brought to the fore meant that at Jena the Prussians were crushed. Taking a look at some of the line infantry first of all. You can see that the models are wearing bicorns. Bicorns all have pom-poms on them, and there were different colours there depending on what regiment. Facings were coloured by regiment as well, and unlike later uniforms, the front of the jacket has lapels with the facing colour. Packs were carried over the shoulder. There was no backpack as we see with later period Prussians. And moving on to look at grenadiers. Let's see, our hats are a lot different. So we've almost got like a bearskin situation going on, like we might see with Austrian infantry grenadiers of the sort of the earlier period. And grenadier battalions were combined, so you would have grenadiers from a couple of parent regiments would come together to fight on the battlefield. So it makes a colourful unit. Obviously I've got pink facings here, and I've written on the back, this is Grenadier Regiment Rival, which is the 18th and the 27th regiments combined. So we've got pink facings and we've got red facings. So it's certainly an interesting project to tackle from a painting point of view. It's good that there are very good notes on the Perry Miniatures website which take you through all the intricacies of the 1806 period Prussians. The guides on the Perry Miniatures website are invaluable, especially when it comes to cavalry, like the Hussars. The Hussar models from AB are packed full of detail. It's hard to believe that these are 18mm figures. I think 18mm, it's kind of this interesting halfway point between 28mm and 15, although they're only just bigger than the 15s. I feel that with AB especially, the amount of detail that's packed in there and the level of the sculpting is as good as you'd see with some 28mm models. Sometimes with 15s there's a bit corner cutting in terms of the detail that's on the models, and generally speaking you're going for a en masse look, so perhaps you don't have to paint each individual figure as well as you would at 28mm. But the 18s from AB have so much detail, but it does require a very steady hand and a fine brush to bring everything out. Hopefully my client is happy with what I'm managing to put out here. The pattern on the saddlecloth needs to be picked out with the brush. The saddlecloths are sculpted smooth, and trying to do the sabretache detail just with a paintbrush is always a wee bit tricky. I tend to find that just trying to put in the R for Rex gives a good enough impression. And here's how the Prussian hussars look on the turntable. So what's up next? As well as 1806 Prussians, I do have a bit of British and French to do as part of this commission. Again, 18mm figures. Pretty certain that's an AB, but I think this one is a Fizzer Johnson. And I believe that both the officer and this light infantry Frenchman are Fizzer Johnson sculpts as well. It's a nice range. In comparison to the AB, there's extra little details. If I compare the officer and the flank company member from the British, I've got things like the cuff lace sculpted on the Fizzer Johnson model, whereas the AB ones you're kind of left to paint that on yourself. So aside from 18mm, what else is going on? I've got some Perry models to paint up, Napoleonics. Here's some Poles, and these are from the Duchy of Warsaw box set. I also have some French. These are converted light infantry models. Body of Frenchmen and lower legs, I think, of Austrians, to give the gaiter covered boots look to the models. So there's around about 30 of these figures to do. Nice green stuff work there. I've painted some of these models up before for the client, and actually he based his request for the paint scheme on a set of French light infantry I did for the channel way back when. I'll see if I can remember to put a link in for that. Staying in 28mm but going to Feudal Japan, I've got a Warlord Games daimyo. This is Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Made from their resin. It might be interesting for people to see how the resin casts come up. Interestingly, split between horse and torso. How well does this fit? Once I've worked out the angulation, it's pretty good. Might be a minor gap to fill there. And gap looks a bit bigger on this side though. Well, that's what the putties are for. While it is mostly historical figures that I paint, every now and again I get commissioned for something a bit different. And these are some Papsickel's miniatures 3D prints of human resistance fighters from the Terminator universe. But for copyright reasons, probably it's from some other post-apocalyptic universe. Nice one of a man and his dog. And what about painting guides? That's what I mainly do on the channel. So there are a couple planned. Here's the teaser. We've got some Union soldiers for the American Civil War. These are from the almost 18-year-old Perry ACW infantry box. Very simple to stick hats on and paint up though, so quite useful for bulking out a force. So maybe a couple of weeks, but then you'll see a guide to how to do these with speed paints and a little bit of dry brushing. So that's something to look forward to. Got myself a channel member last week, so that's super. Welcome aboard, Ralph. Thanks very much for helping support the channel. And if anyone else wants to join as a member, there is a link in the description to follow. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of some of these figures on show, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye bye.